before we get too far into questions, maybe we could hear from Mark Fludder from Government of Queensland.
Thank you. My name's Mark Fludder. I work as a business advisor in the ICT industry and have responsibility for the development of the games industry. I'm not 100% sure how that came about, but the government a number of years ago in Queensland developed what's called the Smart State strategy, and what that's involved was the development or push into the knowledge-based industries. We had a natural growth in the games industry. We had a couple of big players set up there. We had a couple of traditional companies like Melbourne and Monash that had sort of fathered the industry with a couple of other guys. We sort of recognised that and thought that this would be a good push. It's a nice industry. It's a nice way to show that Queensland's got some play in the knowledge-based industries. So we, very similar to what Andrew was talking about, we have a dual set of things that we do, soft and hard. And I guess the majority of what I do sits more on the soft side of things. The department has a number of schemes very similar to what Andrew's talked about. We have a trade show assistance program where you get $8,000 to travel overseas. We have a number of development grant systems that sit within the same department I work in, but don't sit specifically in games. So you can apply for assistance to do prototype, to do process development, to do business planning and stuff like that we're speaking about. I guess to give Victoria its dues, they were a bit quicker with us to move into knowledge-based industries and adapting what they do. Queensland, unfortunately, has been a little bit traditional in the way we've done things, and a lot of our schemes have been set up for manufacturing and mining and construction to traditional strengths, and the knowledge-based companies don't always fit that map very well. So a lot of our programs have been harder to access, and we're going through the motions at the moment in changing that, and we've had a lot of success in doing that in the last 12 months, and we're probably, from a hard aspect, looking at developing some programs at the moment. If you work in the industry this weekend, you've been pushed to the side by me. I know Rob has and a few of the other guys and Mike, and I've been talking to them about some of the programs that we've worked on. Unfortunately, from a government perspective, a lot of this is we come up with nice things on paper, we put them into practice, and we've got to make sure we pick up the ones that work and we ditch the ones that don't work as quickly as we can. And that's sort of where we're at the moment, is trying to come up with the programs that can really make a difference and are accessible. I guess we as a government, have sometimes had problems with making policies that are inaccessible, and that's what we're trying to get away from Queensland at the moment. In terms of what we're currently doing, I guess Queensland's had a real focus in the last 12 to 18 months on building an environment in Queensland and a community. We've spent a lot of time under the banner of Queensland Games and getting all our Queensland companies speaking together. Traditionally, this has been somewhat of a fractured industry at times, and when we spent a lot of time getting the companies together at the table and pushing forward and getting the bigger companies to help the smaller companies. I think mentoring is one of the real things that we've got to push on at the moment. A lot of the experienced guys working in some of the big studios are giving up time to help our startups and spend time with them. We're very much encouraging that. We're very, very interested in the skills issue, of course. The one thing I'd like to say in this room on skills is skills has been an issue that government's been aware of for a couple of years, and we've done a lot of talking and we've sat around and discussed a lot of these things, and industry's really got to pick up the ball and help us put those things into practice. We're really good at setting up meetings and discussing stuff. It's industry that we're going to rely on to actually take those things forward. When we go back to people and treasuries and stuff like that and ask for money, it's the industry support that's going to let us bring that out. They don't just give Andrew and I money because we think we've got a good idea. We need you guys to really get active, and there's been a lot of talking about the skills issue, and I think if we don't start to as an industry pick up the ball and run with it, I think we've put the ball on the field and we've tried to clear the field. It's up to you guys now to pick that ball up and run with it. We can't. That's not our role. We're very much referees and players in these sort of instances. With what we're doing going forward, we'll be having a presence at GDC, where we assist our companies. We take some stand space in meeting rooms. We've just introduced a North American promotional program where we've got journalists and PR companies coming down from the States to do stories and media kits and the like for our local companies, and are going to put that information into the North American market over the next 6 months, aimed at raising the profile. I think in the past 12 months, Queensland's made some really good games, and a lot of people know those games. We've got some good companies, a lot of people know those companies, but not too many people know that those companies made those games, and they're all based in Queensland or Australia, and that's the message that we're trying to get out there, because I think going forward with investments and with skills attraction and stuff like that, we really need to show that we've got a hub and we've got a strength, and we're not just a couple of companies playing against the world. There's a lot of reason to come down here and look at Australia. One of the things Andrew failed to mention that we're doing, and that's only because I haven't told him we're doing it yet, is last year we had a expatriate networking event in San Francisco, and one of the things we're trying to do is reconnect that network around the world of all the Australians that are working overseas, with the view of getting them to come back as investors or workers, or setting up companies and stuff like that. So our objective will be to continue that program and make sure that we are aware of what other Australians are doing overseas. Really, I guess I see my role as one that is looking at setting up an environment that is constructive to building a strong games industry, and I think we're trying to look at things at all different levels. Development kit programs, we've got some PlayStation 2 kits where we're thinking about whether we're going to the next generation or not as those things go. We are looking at developing areas within training. I guess internships and those sort of things are big words that we would like to play more in, and I guess that's one of the struggles we've got going from traditional ways that traineeships and apprenticeships have worked for the old blue collar doesn't necessarily lend itself easily to white collar type things, and we're trying to come up with programs. It's very expensive. I know for Victoria's they've got a successful internship, I'm sure we're going to talk about it, and they're things that we're looking at. I guess it's bang for the buck, but it's so very hard in those areas. I'm sure as companies you'd love us to go there and buy some jobs for you, but that's not sustainable, I guess, going forward. And again, we really need the industry, and that's why we work so much with the GDAA to help us come up with programs that are going to be accessible. I think that's for me the big message that I want to give to people in the room is that we work very hard to keep what we do as great as we can, so we can match it to what you need. But if you guys don't come to us and tell us what you need, it's hard for us to get programs. If you leave it to us, I'll tell you, we'll make programs that look fantastic on paper, but at the end of the day, no one accesses it. It's got to be led by you guys, and I encourage you. I've got business cards here for the companies in Queensland, and the Victorian guys know that I'm accessible and more than willing to talk to people about how we make this industry better and stronger, and it's the discourse that's really important. Governments by nature are slow-moving beasts, and we need to be led in a lot of ways. We've got some pretty dedicated people across all 3 levels of government that really want to make a difference here. And I think sometimes industry doesn't understand how hard it is for us. And when you think how government's hard to deal with from where you are, it's no easier to deal with from where I sit. I can tell you, it's in a lot of ways it's worse for me. That I want to hear what I've got to say anymore, or that I listen to you. Invest Queensland. Brady Paul over here, we'd be more than happy to talk to you guys. He works for Invest Queensland. We are certainly, as Andrew said, with Victoria, same thing. We're aggressive in trying to bring in investment into Queensland. We see games as an important pillar in the programs that the government runs as a whole, like the Smart State Initiative that I was saying. So, if you're looking at a footprint in Queensland, there is a number of things that we can do to assist you. I guess it's hard for me to stand up here, as it was for Andrew to tell us what it is, because it's circumstantial and it's situational. You need to come to us and say what it is you're trying to do, but we have a number of things where we can assist with setup costs, relocation costs, training costs, tax concessions and the like. But to say what and how much that is really determined on your set of circumstances. So again, it's just a matter of picking up the phone. As we said before, I'm only too happy to say no, so you can ask me anything. If I can help, I will. If I can't, I won't. And I can't, I'll tell you no, and I won't waste your time. I can guarantee that I won't say no.